and Eddie Howe.
12 games is a lot, like I said before. So it's Newcastle. It's only I'm concerned. I'm not concerned. We're concerned in the League Cup, the final against Arsenal when it's coming there. But it's now rest and after Leeds. It's always have been like that. You won't anticipate, as a journalist, I understand, you won't anticipate what is going to happen. You know, it's going to be champion this team, it's going to be champion this team. That doesn't count. It's Newcastle, that's all.
They have been the benchmark for a number of years in the Premier League in terms of teams that play at the very highest level consistently. So yeah, with each painful defeat that we've suffered, especially at the Etihad, I think you grow from it, and that's what we try to do. So then when we play other teams, we've tried to evolve and improve.
Interesting to hear Eddie Howe reference that game at the Etihad, because obviously this is the fourth meeting between the two sides. You've probably been in that situation before where you've played a team in the Cup and League as well. What's that like? How do the games change?
They do change because I think, you know, obviously in the Premier League, it's a little bit different because teams can be a bit more diligent, pragmatic, but I think in a cup competition, it's usually a one-off game, so teams go for it more. I think with Newcastle this year, the biggest problem has been consistency. They had a really good win in the week in Carabao, coming off that win against Spurs as well. But I do think, you know, I think Eddie Howe, relatively speaking, has done a really good job with this team. You know, winning the trophy last year, I think the fans obviously enjoyed that. But this year's just been a bit up and down, isn't it? But I don't know, with Man City being like mentality monsters like I talk about, I still fancy Newcastle. I don't know, to get, they could surprise, not win, but I fancy them to get something. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think the big question is the door's obviously open for City now, and we're all waiting to see, can they take advantage? What's your feeling?
I think they can. They know where the goal is. And the interesting thing about the uptick in form for Newcastle is that they still do leave the door open at the back. And that's the big problem for them, because even when they really took Carabao apart in Europe, Carabao were able still to get a goal. Now, that should not have been the case. Now, when they play City, that is going to be a considerable step up in class. It's going to be at the Etihad, and they're going to have players like, as you said, Cherki, Semenyo and Haaland, who's back in form. So you can multiply that by 3 straight away. I think that they could have a big problem with City. City see an opportunity, and I think they're going to take it.
Do you worry about City's defence at all? That was a concern at some point, but now they've got...
Not now.
Not
now.
Well, no, not now. Before I would have done, but I think for 2 reasons I don't worry. I think that Rodri will come good in the second half of the season, and he, as he continues to get his momentum back, he will be a good screen for that back four. But also they've got the leadership of Guehi, who's come in, and he seems to be taking everything on board. After one of his first interviews that he did, Guehi, he talked about the details that he's being asked to pick up. Just looking at these results, by the way, really interesting, because they've won 3 of their last 4. The momentum is back. The goals are being scored. What is that? Do some quick maths. 9 goals in the last 4 games.
Well done, Mathlete.
Was that
amazing.
Right?
Mr. Statman.
And I just think, as far as City are concerned, as I said before, they have the form for coming from behind to win it.
Yeah, but I think, you know, beginning of the season, there was obviously talks about Nathan Ake not being like the races, Ruben Diaz, but now they've been able to bring in Mark Guehi. I don't know how City do it, Jules, because the fact they've been able to bring in Semenyo and Mark Guehi for like 20 mil, like, that's unbelievable. Like, and look at the type of defending. Like, he was brilliant at Palace. You know, it was inevitable he was going to lead, but like, he's only been there for like a month or so. It's like he's been there for like already. Look at him already. Like, they're going up to him after he's done a tackle. You know, they're very together. And I agree with what Darren said. You know, Rodri will come good. There's no reason, you know, they missed him last season. But these are the types of things. Mark Guehi is just an out and out. And this is the type of stuff I was talking about. Look, it's almost like Bonucci and Chiellini. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like he's been there for a long time, and he's a top professional as well. And what a signing he's been for them already.
It could be a title-winning January transfer window when you think about Semenyo, who is adding goals. I think he's got 5 in 5 goals and 2 assists in 8 games. And then Mark Guehi as well, who's helped to shore up and kind of get over that defensive problems they've had.
I think you're absolutely right. And it's a reminder to so many people who were calling this title race at the start of February as being Arsenal's.
You mean me?
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
I did. I said Arsenal.
But listen, I'm on record as saying I just see it as insane. We all have watched so much football. We've seen big collapses.
But if the roles are reversed, though, right, I know we're not talking about Arsenal, but if the roles are reversed and City were 11 points clear, at one point they were, then we'd be saying it was City's title.
And we
Because
could
it's
do
Arsenal.
it with confidence. We could do it with confidence because City have been able to win from the front. They had the mentality and the psychological strength to be able to retain that lead. Liverpool were able to do it as well. Arsenal haven't done it for 2 decades now. It's approaching 3 decades.
Yeah.
And so as far as they're concerned, there are still those doubts. And those are the doubts that are coming into play now. Whereas with City, they've got that confidence, they've got that players. Their key man, I know we mentioned Semenyo and we mentioned Guehi quite rightly because they've been terrific. Their key man is Guardiola. Because with Guardiola...
We both went, it's true.
Because it doesn't matter. You know, you mentioned all the players and then you said as well, but Pep is there and Pep is the one who's been there. And you would know better than both of us. It stems from the manager, doesn't it?
100%.
It does. And I think, you know, this
What
is
does
when
the manager
City...
give you? What does the manager give you?
Well, confidence, reassurance, but Pep's very tough. You know, as we've seen, he goes up to players on the opposition team, he's putting his arm around them. Like, he has high standards, and for some people, they can't live up to those standards. Look at João Cancelo when he was there. He's one of the best fullbacks in the country. They'd have fallen out, and then he left and went to Bayern. I think his standards are really high, but he knows how to get the job done. And that is such a good point, Darren, because he is the common denominator. Yeah. And when you've got so many players in that dressing room and are born winners, like Haaland, if they, say, for example, against Newcastle, they get a penalty in the 92nd minute, you don't even have to watch the screen. Because you know Haaland's burying it 9 times out of 10, and he will never shy away. Foden, you know, Semenyo, like Shirky. I love Shirky when he was at Lyon. So the signings that they do make sense. Not many signings that sign at City fail, do they? Let's be honest. Would Jack Grealish be considered a failure? He won the treble. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't say he's a failure, but most people might say that. Calvin Phillips, you know, there's not many players that go there and don't succeed. And, you know, Semenyo, what a signing. And I think Semenyo is a perfect example of how footballers should conduct themselves when they want to move. Because if you look at how he conducted himself, Darren, it was very admirable, wasn't it? The way he left Bournemouth.
Well, when you think about the elite clubs, what they do, they don't just look at your ability on the pitch, they look at your temperament. And when you look at the way that he continued playing and scoring for Bournemouth all the way up to the point where he was going to be transferred, they would have looked at him and said, that's why he is a good fit for our team, because he's got that consistency, but he's also got that understanding that regardless of what goes on around you, you've got to stay focused on your job, and that's what he's been able to do.
The opponents, Newcastle, and since we're talking about goal scorers, Anthony Gordon has this remarkable record in Europe and then cannot match it in the Premier League. Scored more goals in one game against Karabakh than he scored in the Premier League all season. Isn't that crazy when that happens?
It is, and I think, you know, his form this year has certainly been inconsistent. I mean, I think beginning of the season, people were saying he should be starting for England. You know, and I think you look at the chances, and to be fair, like, he's not supposed to be their natural-born goal scorer, but Voltemade hasn't really scored. Visser's not available again. But these are the opportunities he's getting himself into. Obviously, himself and Trippier had a little conversation the other night when they had that penalty situation. But, you know, he can put the ball in the back of the net, but it's a matter of, like, who else is also going to chip in. As we see, he's very good.
You're a goal scorer. What's he not doing?
Say that again?
What's he not doing in the Premier League?
I mean, I don't think he's taking players on like he used to. He's never been like a natural-born goal scorer, but because Voltemade and Visser are not scoring goals and Visser's not available, it's like it's all come down to him. I mean, look at the difference in Premier League appearances, Champions League, you know, the goals he scored in the Champions League. Like, that's unbelievable. That's not an easy competition to score goals in. People can say, oh, it's only against Karabakh. I don't care. It's a difficult competition to score goals in. So, you know, hopefully he can turn this form around, but then it's up to other people on the team to also step up.
But is there then a psychological aspect for him as well? Like, you know, when he's playing in the Premier League, it's not really my space, but Champions League, I got this. Yeah,
but that's why he wanted to move to a club like Newcastle, because let's not forget he moved there during the takeover. Like, he was one of their key players, wasn't he? It wasn't like he moved there when they were kind of fighting relegation. He moved there as one of their key players.
So one of the games to look forward to is Manchester City versus Newcastle. We're moving on now because Forest play under their new boss, Vitor Pereira, for the first...
They know how to do it. But you know what? So did Man United when we did it. Just move on. Just concentrate on your own job. Every game at a time. And like I say, you have the ammunition to go and blast teams away, and they need to be able to do that. If they keep hanging on in games, keep sitting back, the anxiety from the crowd will breed to the pitch and they will not get the job done. They have to take that out of the equation, take luck out of it and blast teams away. They're capable of doing it. I think they can do that. They're not going to do it on every occasion, of course they're not. But there's going to be games where they're going to have some stress-free games if they can get 2s and 3s. But like I say, they were 2-0 up against Wolves. That was the time to go and put your foot down. But they never took it. took the foot off the brake, and off the accelerator, and I believe they paid the price for that. And it's not only that game; it's games against Nottingham Forest as well. You can highlight a lot of games where they should win. The games when they should win is the ones they're coming unstuck in.
Yeah, I might cheer them up now, because the last time actually they came second 3 times in a row, they then went on and did the Invincibles and obviously won it. So potentially they've got some history there.
Yeah.
Do you think, though, they just haven't got the firepower that Manchester City have got, Roberto?
No, I think if everybody's available, I think they have enough goals in the team.
Yeah.
They create enough chances as well. No, it's just, it's a mentality has to be there. But so far they've had that as well, and we're talking about it now. But back in December when I was here again, they were absolutely flying, and they were the best team.
Yeah.
And I still think they are. With City probably, and then Aston Villa as well, playing really well. So there's some very, very good teams, at the top of that league table. We just have to wait and see. It's difficult to pinpoint it's small details that make such a huge difference. And as further you go down the Championship or the Premier League, then it becomes, every game then becomes crucial, and then we'll see the experience kicks in. But I think they both have, Arsenal and City, they both have the squad to win the Premier League. Whoever's going to do it, then we'll see.
And they do it different ways, don't they?
Yeah.
Like if you're asking that question, Gyökeres went to Man City and they swapped him for Haaland, then they win the league. I believe. I just think in them games where it's a toss-up, you need a goal from somewhere, I think the big man stands up. But there's no guarantee that he will do that for Man City and take them to victory. It is a real 50-50, and I believe, I just don't think it'll be over before the end of the season. I think it'll go right to the wire, towards the last game even.
Well, your former club Villa, will they have a say in this at all? Do you think there's any chance for them?
They're really close, aren't they? They're close, but just not close enough, I think. Unai Emery is an amazing manager.
Yeah.
He's everywhere he's done exceptionally well. Apart from, at Arsenal, where I don't know why they got rid of him. To be honest,
I thought he was unlucky there. To be
I mean, he took them to the final, the Europa League final.
Yeah.
Experienced manager, excellent manager, gets really the best out of the players, which is a really positive trait for a manager.
They're enjoying their football, aren't they?
And they started the season really poorly as well.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. They started the first 3 games, was it?
He never scored a goal in 4 games.
And then they went on an unbelievable run, and they're there, they're hanging on, but I think they just don't have enough to be able to challenge for the title.
It's financial as well, and the financial restraints hanging over them. They always seem to dip their toe in the market, and they've got to be clever with